board, meeting to order. Two selectmen are present, we have one by Zoom. Town administrator is here tonight to help us with the meeting. We have our police chief and fire chief in the back room. We have the planning chair, our town moderator's with us tonight, transfer station manager. We've got Leo Martell and Fred Mullen back there videotaping for the benefit of the public. And that will be uploaded on the town website, for everybody to follow through. We have our state rep here, Ray Plant. And a couple other members from the public, thank you for coming tonight. Okay, we're gonna open up, the meeting by taking care of some meeting minutes from the previous meeting. Danny, did you get a chance to read the meeting minutes?
I don't think I did, sorry.
Okay. So Mike,
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of January 22nd, 2026 as amended.
I'll
So
second Mike's,
I know, I saw the changes you made, they were basically very, very good, I appreciate them.
yeah, a couple of small changes.
Yeah, there's more than numbering system too on the warrant.
That being said, let's take a vote on these meeting minutes. Motion, I'll second the motion first of all. Let's take a vote, Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lavoy, yes.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes of January 22nd as amended also.
I'll second that motion as well. Any discussion on that one? We are sealing those meeting minutes because we're talking about an employee. Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Lavoy, yes.
Dave, vote.
Melt, yes? You're gonna keep a pile down there,
Yes.
Mike?
Mhm.
Okay, just flip them over so we'll have them. You wanna seal that up and we'll sign that?
Yeah.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda tonight is we'll review and sign the Five Rivers Conservation easement on the England lot, which is D30201. In case anybody doesn't know, it's on Stark Highway South. England's farmhouse is on the left-hand side before you drop down below the hill. They're gonna be conserving a large chunk of that land with the conservation of Five Rivers. They've been in to review it with us, and we're scheduled to sign this tonight.
I think there's only one section here, so.
Otherwise, I was just gonna read the secret off, if I could. So the conservation easement will be 88.8 acres. Total easement, a nice chunk of land, connects over to, the back of Flintlock Farm as well. Big piece of property, and it's a nice woodland wildlife lot. I'm gonna,
Dana,
drop down out of order.
Dana, for the record, you're gonna have to sign these upon return.
That's correct.
Okay, will do.
I'm gonna drop down to, item number 4 on the budget, only because our public and hearing includes our town budget. And that starts at 7:15 to make sure everybody can arrive. So, we're gonna review and sign the conformatory deed on behalf of the previous board in 1997. There was a deed, down in the Gorham Pond area, combining lots. Back then, we allowed a couple of the, lot owners to buy lots that were in the back of their property, as long as they were never built on. And we have a deed here that was done by the other selectmen that never made it to the registry. the owner lost the original. Originals only can go to the registry, so they don't have to go right away, but they do need to be an original. All we had was a copy, cause the original was given to the owner. So we're signing a new deed tonight to take care of that. And I did do some research with our New Hampshire Municipal Association in regard to that.
Short on email.
Where I asked Lean to ask them a couple of questions, to make sure we had the authority to sign that. And there was a new law that came out in zoning, that lots that were asked to be joined, stayed basically as single lots, they were no longer joined. But since this was voluntary, they can stay on one single lot. So after that review, I feel comfortable signing it. I'm gonna go into a couple mailbox items just to keep our meeting rolling here. And I'll come back to our agenda. First, before I start mailbox, is there any public comment tonight here that's not on the agenda? Or not for the budget? Do you have something, Don? Go ahead and bring it up.
Just real brief, this year for flags, around Dunbarton, we'd like to alternate the 250th celebration along with the American flag on every other pole. And so, I just wanted to make you aware of that,
That would look nice.
yeah.
He's
I
got the
think it would be-
example in the packet there. There, Mark.
Yeah, that's it.
Dana?
I have a copy in my mailbox here, so thank you, Lee.
Yeah, I think that looked real nice, Don.
But we're not talking about the main flagpole in front of the, library. The library flagpole will still remain American flag.
Right, I'm gonna bring a new one over,
Very good.
yeah. And
It says that there's a full thing here for our signature.
yeah, I tried to keep an eye on those, I see. Just noticed that today when we were
that what
down
it's
to the
taking?
library.
No.
So I'll replace the pole in the flag.
You're sitting next to Fred.
Don, are you gonna be selling them too? Did you get extra to sell to people?
I'm sorry,
Did you get extras to sell, or just for the town?
I just, no, I'll bring down and install it, I'll bring a ladder.
Did you get extra to sell to the public? Are they gonna be for sale, that flag?
Oh, no,
No.
I'm not, I get them off of Amazon, so,
Oh, okay, anybody can get them then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
so,
Big Ray is right though, during Old Home Day, that would be a big seller for you guys
Yeah.
if you're looking for a
and Memorial
fundraiser.
Day,
Yeah.
it'll all be in place for Memorial Day. And I'm gonna talk to the Sons of American Revolution, try to get them out here to really make it a, big unveiling, I guess.
Okay, for the public, and for Dana, that was, Don Larson from Flintlock Farms. So before you guys speak tonight, if you could just say your name and address just for the video. Looks like we still have a little bit of time, Mike, so I'm gonna finish up going through the mailbox items.
Yep.
Okay. We got an email back from Granite State Solar regarding our scheduled, repairs for the solar array. They did say that they wanna wait for the weather to change, which I think is wise on our part. Dana's been a big advocate of this, been speaking to him regularly by email. And Ashley did respond back to Lean, just before we were about to call her, so, if anybody doesn't remember, we signed a warrant last year to pay the balance of these off, and we just wanna make sure the repairs are done timely before we make that last payment. and then we'll
So,
loan it.
so I wanna affirm that we're gonna withhold payment until the repairs are done.
Yeah, or make a partial payment.
She confirmed that, and I asked her if we'd be in violation of our contract, she said no.
Okay.
This is under, the warranty, and if we wanna hold off until all the repairs are done.
And we do not wanna purchase broken stuff.
Correct.
Lean, I'm gonna ask one more time, they attached a poll permit to be signed by us tonight.
I've already taken care of that.
Okay. Town administrator took care of that. Mike, you can sign the top if you want.
Yeah.
So, after we make that final payment, we will own them, but those panels and the inverters on the back of them, all that stuff is still under warranty from the manufacturer, so. Dana made us aware of that, which was helpful.
Yeah, both the panels and the microinverters are both warranted for 25 years, and they're just at their 6th year at this time, so we still have 19 years of warranty left on the array.
Excellent. The next thing we had an issue come up, they were installing some shelves in the library this week, and those shelves were in the Dunbarton Heritage section. Bill Morse had one of his guys build them, and they went to install them, and there was a light switch in the way. So we had an emergency call to get that, light switch moved from a person in town here for electrical. And, I'm gonna provide that for payment tonight. Total on that, Dana, was $750, had to get called off of one job and come down and do this job. The parts and labor, material, and driving from Hanover should be,
Okay, sounds good.
okay. The next thing we have is a response from Donna White to work as a consultant. As many of you know, Donna has just recently retired. We have a replacement working in the planning and building department. And, she is looking, to help us out through any of our future questions coming up. So we wanted some sort of pay schedule. She was looking at a consultant contractor amount of $50 per hour. As a budget line. Involved in our office, home, travel time, phone calls, et cetera, and research she has to do to help Christine out on her job. I don't imagine this to be a long-lasting thing, but a part-time thing, and, the dollar amount, I don't know how negotiable that is, but she's asking for that dollar amount. I think that as long as the approval of her request of work comes through the town administrator's office when she's needed, and both the, planning and zoning people are here today, the chairs, just make sure that when we need her on your projects and you think it'll be helpful, to let Lean know and, get that approval through Lean, cause we've only got a certain amount of dollars budgeted for this line item, so if you guys could, walk softly in that area, I guess, that would be appreciated.
I concur.
Do you have anything else, Dana, for that?
No, I support that. $50 an hour is a reasonable rate for contract and consulting.
We also have in here a right to know request received from one of the taxpayers. And they were looking for a breakdown on our, step levels, wage step levels for our different employees throughout the town. So we'll be filling out that right to know request. They were looking for it from our policy inception to current date. We have updated them in 2022, the last ones that were done. We'll be providing those to her only because we don't keep the old ones on file anywhere, once we're done with them.
Is this a request for all positions throughout the town or just specific ones?
All positions that have a, wage scale attached to it,
Okay,
so. Even elected ones, I think there were wage scales, but they were at the top of those wage scales typically.
okay.
So Lean will be working on that over the next week. And the last one on the mailbox item was Don Larson to display those 250th flags, every other one. I think we already covered that. That should take care of that, Mike. Put that over on there. now 7:16, and I will open the public hearing on the proposed budget and warrant for 2026. As many of you know, we've had, meetings over the last 3 or 4 months to work this budget down to where we're gonna present it tonight. A lot of approvals have gone in place to get this in to where we think it's a very workable budget. And I'll start and we'll go over it. I'm gonna start with the revenues. Here's the warrant. You guys have copies to follow along with for us. So we're gonna be looking at the revenues here, and the excess revenues that were here in our budget this year. So, starting up on the, land use tax, we kept it at 60,000. Our budget actually came in at 57,000 last year. Then there's some other small yield taxes that are involved there, which is a placeholder of $500. The penalties and interest on taxes, last year's budget was 10,000, we were at 8,194. This year, our new one is at $9,000, we follow that. Licenses, permits, and fees. The, 2025 budget was 775. Our actual in 2025 was 987,664. We're keeping 775 budgeted. Depending on the year you have and how the economy goes, depending on people are buying a lot of new cars or not new cars, it changes the amount pretty dramatically, so we didn't wanna overstep and put our budget too high in that category. Building permits, budgeted for 30,000, we were at 27,491, and we're staying at the $30,000 budget. Building codes and permits and other licenses was budgeted for 10, we did 12,284, we're gonna keep that at a budget of 10. A lot of our developments are being sold out, and, the number of new homes seems to be dropping a little. Okay. Going on to other, revenue from other government, we've got the highway block grant. It was budgeted at 111,567, we got 111,567. We basically budget $100,000 for that line. Federal forest, we got 4139, we got 4139, we're leaving that at $4,000. Flood control, we budgeted 75,637, we actually got 75,637, we budget 78,000 for that line item. Rooms and meal tax. This has been known to fluctuate up and down through the different years. We have received, 315,491, we budgeted 185,000 for that. The original budget was set at $175,000, and it's setting on the tax rate, the DRA gave us another 140,491 to apply to that. Seeing where that DRA sets these rates typically by October for our tax rate setting, that's when those generally get adjusted. So our budget in 2025 was 506, with the adjusted, levels coming from the DRA in October. The actual was 510,053, we're budgeting 359. Next section will be income from other departments. These are a lot of departments combined within the town. We budgeted 55,000. We took in 87,489, and we're keeping it budgeted at 55,000. We have sale of town property. We have a sale of one, town vehicle in here for $4,500, a boat for $457.25, and another PD vehicle at $36,009 for a total of $85.66. Interest and investments, we budget $1,000, we received $2,009, we're keeping that budget at $1,000. Okay, so our revenues were budgeted at $1,458,334. We received $1,723,909. Our budget for this coming year is $1,309,500. Our excess revenues this year, as of 1/19/2026, were $265,575. That takes care of the revenue side. Anybody have any questions on the revenues?
Chuck Frost, 39 Overlook Drive. Why would the revenue go down to 309,000 when it looks like the budget for 2025 was 1,458,000? It seems as though, wouldn't the revenue be at least as much as it was last year?
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have a variance, a large variance on, say, room and meals tax, for example. It could drop $100,000 and we'd be sitting, over budgeted, we'd be pulling out of reserves. So we're conservatively looking at how much money we come in. And as we get more revenues come in, you're gonna see later on that we're not taking those revenues and willy-nilly spending it. It's gonna be applied to the tax rate, in other words, returned to the voters.
So Chuck, I'm gonna go through, there's one more item on there. So what Mike said is right, we had, in October is when they set the tax rate through the DRA. So they gave us an additional $140,000 this year, so that brought it up. Also, through our town clerk's office, we had a very good year as well. We try not to go up higher on those spike years, because if people don't buy as many new trucks or cars this next year, that level could come down a little bit.
Okay.
So on our revenues, we try and stay a little bit conservative, just so that we're not bringing our revenues up so close that it catches our budget. We always like to have a couple of $100,000 to put back towards the tax base, whether it's through warrant articles or putting it back towards the taxes, like you'll see us doing right here.
All right, thank you.
Ray Plant, 30 News Point. Just an education question. Like if you look at page 3 here, the revenues for rooms and meals, for instance, is $315,491 in 2025. How is the budget and the actual the same?
They set that rate in October, so our original budget, actually, for the rooms and meals, was at $175,000 last year. We're moving it up to $185,000 last year. But in October, when we set the tax rate, they gave us an additional $140,491. So, all of those items that are set there, from the highway block grants, the federal forest, flood control, rooms and meals, those all get distributed through the DRA in October for our final tax rate setting. So, it's like they've gone through the first half of the year, they see what's happening, and that's when the tax rate settings. Do you have any more information on that, Lou?
I do. Just for the public's information, last March's, budget hearing, the board set the revenues projection at $1,305,000. This year, for the March, 2026 meeting, we're projecting $1,309,500, which is actually $9,500 higher than last March. So as Dave was saying, last budget hearing, the highway block we had set at $100,000. The DRA increased that $11,567. I'm required by auditing to increase the original budget to reflect what the DRA gave us. So
That's why the budget shows
so
higher now.
it shows that it's higher, but the highway block originally was set at 100. The Forest PLT was set at 4,000. flood control was set at 7,000, and the original rooms and meals was set at 175. All four of those items were increased at tax rate setting, and I'm required to input that new number to increase the actual number. So it looks like it's a higher number budget, but it really wasn't.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's kind of a,
Yeah,
go ahead,
yeah,
Dan.
that's actually, I'm glad Lean said that, because it's those four line items there that kind of make up the difference that Chuck was just pointing out a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So that's a very good, point to make on those lines. They had to be reset because of the DRA numbers.
One of the hardest part I have as selectmen is after our March meeting, I think that our town budget is set in concrete. So you kinda know what our tax rate setting is gonna be, and that's absolutely not true. In October is when the tax rate setting gets firmed up through the state and those revenues coming into us. And as you see states talk, you can hear about it all the time, the legislator in the state, the governor, talking about changing different things with the room and meal tax. It really, if they come one year where they need money, they're gonna grab that money, and then we're gonna be, you know, so that's why we don't bring that number up very high typically.
Can I also point out that when the board, creates a budget, whether it's the expense side or the revenue side, if they set the revenue too high and we don't meet those numbers, then we end up depleting our surplus, and that's not our goal. So, as you can see in the actual, even though we set our budget last year at 1,305,000, we came in at 1,723,900, which is an additional 265,575 more than we had projected, even with the DRA increases. So that's not touching our surplus, that's giving the board an additional almost $300,000 to do something with. Either leave it in surplus or give it back to the taxpayer, and that's what the job of the select board is, to work with that money that we receive and try to always increase your minimum retainage. And in this way, we don't touch the retainage, and we always see a surplus of revenue, which works very well.
I'd like to add one thing, just the flood control reimbursement. Yeah, it's only $70,000 we budgeted, we got 75 last year. But several years ago, the legislature attempted to take it all away from us. And that would have been a $75,000 hit. It was restored, but those are the things we gotta be vigilant for, because all these extra dollars we get from the state are subject to change.
Okay, and we all set with revenue? Okay, now we're gonna go on to the, proposed operating budget for 2026. And I've got a note here with detailed notes, and I've got the short form. So, you're gonna hear a lot of this as we go through this. Most of the changes you're gonna see through this budget are gonna be for the 3% COLA to the different departments. So there aren't a lot of changes this year. We've been pretty level spending throughout the departments. But I will note that the 3% COLA comes up pretty substantial through this. I can go through this as detailed as you want. On the breakdown, where I go through it in bulk, I'll probably just go through each line here, total. If you have any questions on the sections, go ahead and ask them. So, under the executive, we've got, under that's covering Board of Selectmen, Town Administrator, Secretaries of the Town Office, Recording Secretary, in the office. It was budgeted at $168,000 for those people. It actually cost last year $165,324. This year it's at $180,000. There's an $11,511 increase in that section. 3 of the lines are COLA in there, and there was a wage adjustment done on the town administrator at our last meeting. That 5% wage adjustment brought her up $41.75. Anybody have any questions for the executive section?
I have a question. Addison Chase, 29 Guinea Road.
Yeah.
Who says they get a 5% raise? Is that just a COA or CO COLA, whatever you call it?
I think so.
Okay, try it, Mike.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, when our current town administrator was hired,
Yes,
she was she had no experience, and she was hired at bare bones budget. Okay, she's got numerous years of experience now, and she was woefully underpaid. We looked at about 20 towns, the budget, survey, and she was like near the very bottom of other town administrators. And so we thought it was only the right thing to do with the amount of responsibility she has, with the experience she now has, to bring her salary competitive. And now, I think it's just hitting close, it's still below the 50th percentile, it's still lower than the majority of town administrators out there. So we're still, in my opinion, woefully underpaying her, but we're a small town, we can't afford huge pay
that
raises.
is correct. I buy that 100%.
Okay, and so we kept it at a minimum, to bring her up, make her a little more competitive. Our challenge in this town is, when she retires, she's in the retirement window, I'd say within 5 years, I extended it a few years, so she didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, to recruit for someone, again, they want a college degree, they want experience, and the thing is, her salary, we're gonna be stuck trying to find someone with the level of experience we need. So, it's a challenge, but right now, I would like to say, I still think she's still currently underpaid, but we wanted to at least recognize, after all these years of experience, where they brought her in on a shoestring budget, we're paying her at least, I call it a fair wage now.
Yeah.
Not excessive, a fair wage.
Uh-huh.
So Addison, just so you know, in 2022, we went through all departments and tried to look at the different towns that were close in size to
I
ours.
remember the
So
whole
in
thing.
2022, we did that, tried to bring the different departments. Since then, a lot of things have changed in our economy. We have several departments that have come back to us for different jobs. The police department came back to us at some times. The highway department has come back to us with some, we have a second worker there now.
Yeah.
We increased the wages for the transfer station people. So some departments have come back since then, and we've looked at those departments again individually to answer your question. So that's how that gets decided.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Just one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Linda?
Linda Landry, Montalona Road. So, this wage adjustment this is not the first time that a wage adjustment has been done. Since they've started doing the wage scale, and I understand that. And I remember from the past, this is not the first time the town this position has gotten a substantial wage increase. And I do understand comparing with other towns. We are one of the smaller towns in the state, and I wanted to make sure you did compare it to similar sized towns, because there are only a handful that fall within that range of ours. And the other part to my question is, well, a couple parts. So you budgeted in 2025 a figure, but her actual, the position's actual is higher. So where did that money come from? Where did that get pulled from if we didn't vote for that amount?
Well, the overall department budget was 168, the actual was only 165, so as long as it comes out of that actual department budget, it didn't come from anywhere else.
Okay, so, just because I didn't do the math, the wage scale for that, just that one position, what percentage did that increase?
I did say that right in the beginning. So the wage scale, adjustment that she got was 5% and the 3% COLA.
Okay, that's,
So 4175 was the adjustment to the pay.
so it was a 5% wage scale
That's right.
increase, and then a 3% COLA on top of that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And to your first part of the question, we do definitely compare it only to towns our size or smaller.
Like Chichester and things that are in the
Exactly.
3,000
We're not talking about 5
population
towns, we're
range.
talking about 10 to 20 towns. We go out, we look across the state.
There are some, Linda, that have a slightly higher, they might have 5,000 people. We kinda look at a range of them. Sometimes we try and make sure they're budding towns, but our budding towns are
Are
typically
bigger.
larger. So,
And
you
it-
end up going further north, and when you go further north for the smaller towns, some wage scales again change when you go further north, so. It's kind of an adjustment, and you look at it and use your best.
It's the same process we followed last year when we had to upgrade some other departments. Again, you can't look, I'll give you, for example, the police department. We couldn't even fill our positions with what we were offering. And we weren't offering, and the challenge is, other departments who are competing for, we're offering like 10 and 20,000 sign-on bonuses. We can't offer that in this town. And so we have to look carefully at wages in similar-sized towns. We're not at Concord, we're not in Manchester, but we are small, like, we're closer to Salisbury than we are to any larger city around us. And we look at, any position we look at, people come in asking for raises. We basically take a deep dive into what's out there. Are we paying fair, or are we paying at the very rock bottom? And we're not rock bottom, but we're far from the top.
I looked at the town of Ware, as you know, substantially larger than ours. They just tried filling their town administrator's job. And she had a big bump up a few years back to bring her to $120,000. They advertised her job at $145,000, got 3 applicants, 2 refused, and they didn't like the last one. So she's working per diem for them until they find something out. I know it's a larger town, but, you can see the disparity between the two. It's, you know, we, in 2022, we did bring our town employees up much closer, Woody will tell you in his department. We brought them up much closer to where they should be. They're not all 100% there, but they're pretty close. And, we've tried to do that to keep the workers in the town and in their positions and keep people here working. We were fortunate enough to get a second, operator for our dump truck for the, highway department. But that took, I think, 1 year and 6 months, 1 year and 7 months, 1 CDL driver.
And can I comment on the cost of living rate?
Stolen from Bo.
Yeah, I know.
No, don't go into the cost.
No, well, I just wanna say that, we have a cost of living, and they say, well, what do they get a cost of living? Well, yeah, we contrast with that, the schools department, as a contrast, negotiated a contract with the teachers where they get, whether it's 0% or 10%, they get 5% every year. And I said, geez, why couldn't they have put in something else? And then they just gave a 4%. Well, we're struggling, again, I feel almost an injustice to our employees, but we're giving them a good 3%. And because the inflation rate was 2.8% cost of living. And so, we're being very conscious of the taxpayers. And we're trying to hold the line. But it's hard to, keep employees, especially in the police department, when we don't pay enough.
May I make one more comment?
Please.
Then? Okay. I know how hard you folks work to keep this for so many years, level, and you did, you were great with giving the employees a cost of living increase. But economy changes and times change, and I know it's hard in some places to get people. But just for your information, and I said the same thing to a school board member, I'm on Social Security now. I got a 2.8% increase, and the increase that I got, and of course, and that's offset by their increase, their Medicare cost, so that went up. So that's supposed to be my cost of living increase for this year. That doesn't even cover what my taxes went up in 2025, and that's the reality. I can't just go to people and say, hey, I need more money. So I appreciate how hard you try, but I also, this is not the time to be doling out big raises just because.
Good.
So,
Thank you, Linda. Anybody else as far as the, executive section?
Nope,
You have another one?
Addison Chase, 29 Guinea, I agree with 113% with Linda, what she has said. And I know this is a tough deal, but we are set. There's more people in Dunbarton that are set, probably, than are making big bucks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, and that's a hard situation to keep pulling every year.
Yep.
Go more than what we get, they want more than the 3% or 2%, 2.8 as Linda pointed out there. You know, everything is higher than what we get from Social Security.
Yep.
And the cost of,
I'm not sure
Medicare.
if you remember, Addison, a couple of years back, it wasn't at 2.8%, it was probably at 2.25%.
Yeah, of course I remember,
And we
yes.
brought it down to 2%.
Yep,
And on the floor, it got voted back to 3%, made a heck of a lot of work for us to recalculate everything.
but then
in
what
our
did the
budget.
school do? But then what did the school do?
The school
too?
was back at 5%.
Yes.
I will tell you guys, the school meeting is, a separate time, and that's,
Yeah, what, Dave, now, excuse me for asking, but what is, it's during the same meeting?
no,
No.
the school had their meeting on last,
This past
Yeah,
Monday.
but is it, when does it get voted on?
the school had a separate.
Saturday, March
1 week before ours.
Oh, it is?
The Saturday before.
March seventh.
I didn't see it in the calendar, that's right.
It is,
No,
it
wouldn't
is,
be. I try to put as much information, because that's where everybody goes.
it will be on the bulletin board.
It already is, it's out there.
I'm gonna say, be kind to the town moderator, in the sense that, you really can't make specific line changes, but you can reduce the budget.
Yeah.
But make specific line changes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm,
and
yeah.
if you're thinking about making any proposals, come with pen and paper so you can write it up, make it easier for the town moderator.
Got it,
Okay,
thank you.
going on,
One more.
oh, you got one more, okay.
Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive, just for those of you who weren't at the meeting, we were at the meeting, they had to get more chairs and everything for the meeting, because everybody showed up. And it was, they didn't really do very good explaining. They were supposed to pass things along to Lean, and the last time I talked to Lean, she hasn't gotten anything from the school board yet. They were supposed to give her updates that she could post on the town website, and that hasn't been done, and that was Monday. So,
I did post my handout
Oh, yeah.
scanned
mhm.
to do what I could,
Yeah.
because I haven't gotten anything from the school.
But anyway, thank you.
So you will see those meetings for the school and the town on the bulletin.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right, going on to election registration vital statistics. We've got, again, the 3% COLA in there. We have 3 elections this year. So that actually is, changing the budget a little bit. So I'm gonna go on the totals on here, if you have any questions, we go on there. So it was budgeted for 105,276. And the actual was 89,668 for that budget, and we have proposed 120,696. That's a $15,420 increase. The 3 elections, increase those 2 line items for the, ballot servers and the, meals by 14,000 and change, just about all the increase came from there. And the rest was 3% COLA. So the only change to that department pretty much, was the additional elections. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive, the deputy town clerk line,
Yes.
that's quite an increase. Even for, you know, say the budget last year at 26 and they end up at 34, now that's more than 3%. Is there a reason for that? There was a step increase too or something? Or-
Yeah, under the deputy town clerk, we have an assistant town clerk in there as well. Our deputy town clerk, for family reasons, wasn't able to make all of her hours this year,
Okay,
so her training was slowed up. And so we got an assistant town clerk, cause you cannot have 2 deputies.
okay.
So we have an assistant town clerk, for a temporary position. We were hoping it was only gonna last to the end of last year.
Uh-huh.
It is going into this year, but as soon as that family issue is resolved and we have people up to 100% on their training, we hope to cycle that back out of there.
Okay, all right, thank you. Question?
More question, Dave.
Oh, go ahead, Linda.
Thank you for explaining that, cycling down. Question, if that doesn't get cycled down and we retain a deputy and an assistant, have you requested that the town clerk, open more hours?
We did, ask, because as you know, the town clerk is elected. And, she said at this point, she has no, she does not wanna change the hours. And we, spoke to her about it at several meetings and asked her to rethink her answer, and, we're still waiting to hear back from that. I think that it's a good idea during these budget processes for the more people to let her know about adding additional hours, whether it's a Friday or a Thursday night.
I've spoken to her about it multiple times.
We've had several requests within the town offices here, and myself personally in reference to it, so we have spoken to her about it. And, my hopes is we're gonna get some more hours, but until we have people trained a little bit better, it's hard to do.
Right, and I do understand that. I'm
So I
just
think that-
wondering what, yeah,
You know, our town clerk's elected, and, she does have the benefit of having our town, benefits
yes.
along with that. So that being said, You would think that we could have a little bit more control over the hours, we just simply don't.
Well, as I was always told when I was in that position, they can't control your hours, but they can control your budget.
Right.
And it looks like it's
So
kind of status quo.
I think to follow it next year would be real important during budget season. Not on the last minute this meeting, but during the budget where they come in with their budgets. And Lean posts those pretty well. We generally have 2 or 3 departments per week when we're in the budget season.
And one more question on that, and this could just be a typo. Under town clerk, budgeted for 2025
Yep.
is different than actual, was that number transposed?
Yes, it was, as a matter of fact.
There you go.
Which one are you talking about?
At 60,009, 695.
And then
It was
965.
actually 60,965, and so she was paid correctly by the stepway scale, it's just the budget was short a couple of dollars.
Okay. All right, the next line is, financial administration. In that, we have the tax collector, our audit services, our deputy tax collector, treasurer, dues, advertising, postage, office repair, copier maintenance, computer services, printing charges, recording fees, telephones, supplies, training, and education. Looking at that, the budget was $148,477. Our actual budget came in at $129,839. We have budgeted $156,130. That increase is $7,653. Again, your tax collector has a 3% COLA. Your treasurer, your deputy tax collector. All those COLA lines hit. We had a postage increase, a software licensing increase. We brought up training by $1,000 and telephone by $500. And those are the only increases I see in that. Any questions on that section? Okay, seeing none. Gonna go to the assessing department. In the assessing department, we have the secretary, the administrator, the appraisal services, and the utility assessor. And we have computer support. Total budget for that line item is $42,748 in 2025. We spent $28,820. We have scheduled for the budget of $39,851. There's a decrease of $2,897. We have the 3% COLA added in there as well, even with the decrease for the secretary and the administrator. And, the reevaluation in 2025 had a $3,000 charge added to it, so that's why we were able to bring that line down by almost $3,000. Anything for the assessing department? Okay, under legal. We basically have legal for our planning, zoning, our tax collector, board of assessors, and selectmen. The legal fees, were budgeted at $50,600. We spent $39,569. And we have budgeted $52,600, $2,000 increase in legal fees. Anybody have any questions with legal? Okay. Personnel and administration. This stuff is pretty well fixed, but because Social Security, Medicare, retirement, unemployment, workers' comp, longevity, winter maintenance on-call stipend, health insurance, dental insurance, disability insurance. The total for these items were budgeted in 2025 of $543,923. The actual is $456,237. Our budget is $580,481. There's an increase of $36,558. We've got a bunch of payroll changes in here that changes, shows 11.5 full-time employees. Changes that payroll amount, on 3 different lines. We have 5, under longevity, we have 5 full-timers and 3 part-timers, with 6-time liability. 2 full-time highway workers, changes their amount. We have, on the full-time employees, we have 8 on the medical plan and 4 on stipend, so there's a decrease there. And on the dental, we have 2 full-time employee changes, so basically, this year, we've, got our full-time officer for the 5th full-time officer added, we have an additional person in the highway department. And it's the first year, I think we've had all 4 part-timers working in the transfer station. Pretty consecutive. Any other full-timers I'm missing, Lee? Nope.
Excuse me, Dave,
Yeah.
you said the word stipend,
Yeah,
what was that pertaining to?
I can explain the stipend that we have for our plowers, the guys that are running those trucks.
Okay,
I think it's a $1,500 stipend for them to be on a call all winter.
okay,
Anytime it's gonna snow, rain, freezing rain, those guys can't drink, they can't go out, they gotta be here within
Okay.
20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
I
that
understand.
$1,500 covers them for the entire winter.
thank you, sorry, I didn't do my name, but,
That's all right.
sorry about that, thank you.
Linda Landry, Montalona Road, can you just explain on the retirement number, the 3rd one down? That's quite a jump, can you, just kind of explain how that works?
On the retirement, we added those, additional employees, which is gonna make that large jump there, I would imagine.
So that's the difference from 2025?
Yeah.
Two employees full-time.
2 employees, okay.
1 police officer and then 1 full-time.
And we also, we're budgeting, we have another vacancy in the police department, which we have to budget for, another full-time police officer, which has gone vacant for over a year, which we've been working diligently to fill, so we can't just leave it as a 0, we have to plan for it.
And we did knock down the numbers for the police department, just about 9 months by the time they can possibly hire that person. Okay, any other questions on that personnel administration? Okay, going on to planning and zoning. In the planning and zoning, we've got advertising for planning and zoning decisions and, beforehand, for the meetings. Supplies, fees, services, mapping. The GIS manager, online query for the different, sections of the town. Recording fees, engineering costs, have our engineering consultant look at these plans. Planning consultant and training. That looks like that planning and zoning section comes up to $16,540. We spent $10,587. Our budget is a $258 decrease of $16,282. We had a contractual increase on the fees and a decrease in the zoning of $499. Any question on planning and zoning? Okay, general government buildings. In there, we have, town maintenance of the buildings. Administration for the general government buildings, admin. Gasoline for the town, diesel for the town. Electric for the town offices, electric town hall, police fire, electric for transfer, electric for highway. Heating oil, town office, highway, town hall, police and fire, transfer station, janitor. Heating, maintenance, repairs and security. So that total budget was $239,075. We spent $217,535. We budgeted $239,575. It looks like an $800 increase, and that came under heating oil for the highway and heating oil for the transfer station.
This week's not helping.
Any questions for that government building? Yeah, go ahead, Lou.
Patrick Bound, Robert Rogers, Dave, I don't have heat and oil. I have propane.
Oh, propane.
It's listed as propane.
Okay.
LPG for you. Thanks for that correction, Woody. Anybody else? All right, under general government buildings, we've got that one taken care of. We're going to cemeteries. Cemeteries, we've got the mowing, improvement materials, cornerstones, fence repairs, mapping, services, loam and weed and seed control, and the hearse maintenance. That was 27,113,113. They used 27,113, their budget's 27,111, $2 decrease for them. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but our cemetery is in great shape compared to what they used to be. They're repairing fences, the east side cemetery over here, they have it either a third or a half loomed. They're doing it in step progress, they're doing a lot of work and it really shows.
Plus we get no feedback.
Anything on cemeteries?
No complaints.
Okay. Next one we're gonna have is insurance, property liability insurance and other insurance. The total budget was 52,367. We spent 53,367. Our new budget is 52,233. It's $134 decrease. The decrease was on our property liability insurance. We did such a good job, they decreased it for us. Okay. The next one here I have is, police department. We already did speak about getting that fifth full-timer put in there. That was one of the largest changes to the budget. The full-timer. We also had to change, cause we have different calculations for paid holidays. I'm not sure if anybody knows, but we got June 19th last year, so that bumped up our budget a little bit. And with the police department, it's one of our only departments that typically they're working the holidays, so it changes our overtime line in that line as well. We also have the 3% COLA. We had a contractual increase, with our dispatch line. Police training went up some. The computer hardware for our police department is, going up by $4,400. There was also an IMC contract, decrease by $920. Vehicle maintenance went up by $1,800. And the telephones went up by $500. Because we have an additional worker, the uniforms went up by $2,000. So the total budget for the police department was 625,568. His actual was 607,667. Our 2026 is 763,263. There's a $137 increase. We decreased that by $7,091 with working with the chief on the meeting that we had on 1/8/26, rounding out some of the months for the 6-time officer. So that includes budgeting in there for that 6th full-time officer. Hopefully we get to fill that spot this year.
6th or 5th?
Six.
Okay,
We filled the 5th last year.
okay.
Anybody have any questions for the police department?
Can I just point out, the increase is $137,596,
Yes,
$697, not $137.
Oh,
You missed the
that was
last three
good.
numbers.
Okay.
And important.
Decimal points matter.
Any questions on that? So again, we've had substantial amount of meetings going over all these numbers.
So one more time though, Dave, so the majority of it was for the 6 officers?
Correct.
6 officer and the 3% COLA.
Yep.
Thank you. There's a few contractual changes and some other stuff with police hardware. Most of the things can't be changed. Okay, going to the fire department. In that, as you guys know, we have a part-time chief now. We we also have the, per diems, for our ambulance. We've got forest fire fighting, training for the fire department, mutual aid compact, things we can't change. Gasoline for the fire department, diesel fuel for the fire, office supplies. Fire station supplies, telephone, mobile phones, department equipment and maintenance dues to the fire department. Radio repair for the fire department, pagers, fees and services for the fire department, protection equipment. Subscriptions for the fire department, fire prevention, dry hydrant repairs, medical and ambulance expenses, paramedic intercepts. So, on that, I'll go through, the total budget was 211,988. We actually spent 199,174. The new budget is 260,754. It's a 48,766 increase. Okay. What is the credit, the first line here, Lean, the 34,000 credit for the per diem?
They separated the 76,000, which was for the new account created for the
Part-time,
ambulance services and the firefighters.
okay. So the per diem line, had a $34,000 credit there, and their total new line went up by 57,330. They have a 3% COLA added for the fire chief. We have mutual aid went up by $1,936, gasoline went up by 500, diesel by 800, office supplies by 200. The telephone, we're doing something different with the telephones now, went down by 700. Danny, you wanna speak to the telephone quickly?
We had a fax line over there that we weren't using, so we disabled that. Saved that money.
Dana had leaned and gone through all of the departments and their phones and phone lines, and uses and non-uses, and ones we were using for alarms and not using, and cleaned up a lot of accounts that had some substantial savings for the town. Department maintenance equipment went up by $5,000. Radio repairs up by 6,200. Fees and services went up by 1,000, protection equipment by 5,000. We have, several new, firefighters that needed equipment as well coming on. Subscriptions, are up by 300. Ambulance expenses went up by 2,300. When you're gonna operate the ambulance more, we had a lot of out-of-date stuff there, I think originally, and they've cleaned through all that stuff, and now they're gonna resupply that. And, paramedic intercept went down by 1,300. So, that being said, anybody have any questions for the fire department?
Yeah, Chuck Frost, 39 Overlook Drive.
Yep.
I might have missed something, but could you go over again that administration per diem, if it's budgeted for 57,000 this year, but there was nothing to, last year?
I'll have the department head probably answer that, probably could do a better job than me.
So, in 2025, the top line item, administration part-time, that covered, two different salaries. It covered the call member response that we have, and it covered the first year of the amount of money set aside for, per diem employees. What we decided to do for 2026 is to separate all of the per diem money to make it two different line items.
Okay.
But you also saw an increase in the amount of money for per diems, because in 2025, we only staffed it for 9 months. We started it on April 1st. Right, we didn't start it until after town meeting, so to make sure we have the funds. So from April 1st to December of 25, that's what was staffed. To cover the entire year, you'll see that quarter of an increase in that line item, but it seems confusing because it's separated out at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Does that cover it, Chuck?
Well, I'm not completely,
I'm not completely
clear on it, but,
Okay, I have a question on that. So that's the
Name,
part-time
name,
and the,
and address? please?
Karen Chase, Guinea Road.
Okay,
Is that the part-time and the per diem, are the two items you're talking about?
No, so what happened, the part-time, that part-time line, that is our call member response.
Yes.
So the reason that dropped to $42,000, It dropped, but it technically went up, so the total amount of money for 2025 for call member response was around 37,000. I increased it slightly for the 3% COLA that we're giving to employees, but also to cover the fact that we took on 2 or 3 new employees throughout the year, who are responding to more calls, so trying to adjust for, you know, the number of calls that we have for service, participation in trainings, and the 3% COLA. So it goes to 42,000, which this year, or 2025, was around 37,000. The 57,000 is separated out, and I'd have to look, but maybe 17 or 18,000
Yep.
more than it
So
was in
it's those 2
2025.
items that made up the one,
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so these two.
Okay, any other questions on the fire department?
Yep, John Trotter, 300 Sauk Highway North. We don't charge for our ambulance services.
Well, actually, we do get paid for some ambulance service, I'll let the chief.
We do.
Yeah, so legally in order to run an ambulance, we have to bill for service.
Yep.
Right, so we bill patients' insurance, however, it's not considered a revenue to the town, because early nineties, and Lean can correct me, there was a warrant article that established a revolving fund to be able to cover the cost of ambulance expenses, replacement equipment, etc. So when we bill insurance to patients, when it's paid back into the town, it's deposited back into that ambulance revolving fund. So just as a refresher, the ambulance that was voted on 2 years ago, about $293,000 was taken out of that account to cover the cost, which reduced the amount of money that came out of the capital reserve fund to pay for that ambulance.
Gotcha.
So that, the money that goes into that, you know, whatever we wanna make a request to spend from it, it goes to a warrant article, very specific. In 2025, we used a warrant article to purchase an IV pump, a safe to store controlled substances, and a ventilator for respiratory emergencies.
Yeah. Do we get reimbursement from the insurances pretty well?
We do,
Good.
we do.
You don't have to chase after them.
No, so we get a statement of unpaid items, and the general practice is if it's a town resident that hasn't been paid and they haven't filed for a hardship, it'll get written off.
Yeah.
If it's an out-of-town resident, we'll continue to send it on to their insurance companies and send it to collections.
Thank you.
That's an important factor.
It is a factor.
Addison Chase, 2019, what is a dry hydrant? Do we have hydrants in Dunbarton?
Yeah,
Yeah, fire bonds, yeah.
Fire ponds? Is that right?
do you wanna explain them?
I do, yeah, so, in general terms of hydrants, we categorize them as wet and dry.
Okay.
So a wet hydrant is, what you're thinking of, a traditional pressurized water hydrant system, which we don't have in this town. Whenever you see, a single pipe or 2 separate pipes that come up out of the ground,
Yes.
the 2 separate pipes are generally for a cistern, which is an underground water tank. If you see a single pipe that's close to an open body of water, that's what's called a dry hydrant. So in
Thank
order
you.
to get water from it, we need to use the truck to create a negative vacuum to draw the water into the truck, as opposed to the pressurized hydrants we would connect and it would automatically be supplied.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, fire department's done. Okay, moving on to the building department. We've got the secretary for the building inspector, the overtime line for the building inspector, secretary, administration for the building inspector, that is the building inspector's line, supplies, training, and dues. So in that, the total for the building department was 97,848. We spent 99,148. We're back, spending, 97,996. Total increase of $148. The building inspector, secretary had a little double coverage for training, so we brought that down by $2,557 and added COLA to it by 3%. And the building inspector, 3% COLA brought that up $2,705. So with the decrease, because we're not gonna do, 2 people in there, because the overlap was just 1 month, has an increase of only $148. Go ahead.
Bob Leonard, Holiday Shore Drive. Now that we've hired somebody new, shouldn't that salary be going down to a lower level?
We had to, produce a job schedule for that, and we went out, for hiring for people for that job position, and we set a rate for that.
Okay.
I can tell you, we had 3 applicants that we
Yeah.
liked. We brought the first two in that actually said they would take the job.
Okay.
Both of them refused the job after we offered it to them officially.
You're
Um,
kidding me, yeah.
And this lady here came back to us and said she would take the job after we offered it to her. She seems to be doing a great job, picking up on it very fast.
Yeah.
She had the least amount of experience, but she's very enthusiastic and seems to be doing a great job in there, so. We had to bid it out somewhat competitively, but I can tell you, I don't think we overpriced it because we lost a couple of really good candidates.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
And you are right, there is a wage scale that will be adjusted from that.
Okay.
So what we did is we probably hired somebody in the middle of the wage scale is what we did.
Yeah, okay,
I'm only going off memory, but
yeah.
depending on the person's experience, we don't always hire them at the bottom of the wage scale.
Oh, no, right, exactly, yeah,
And we do that for all departments, depending on the experience.
Thank you.
Emergency management was budgeted for 1,000, it stayed at 1,000 flat. That may go up some over these next couple of years. The fire chief and police chief are working on that department, emergency management. And we're looking at some new areas in town that we wanna try and make sure that we're covered for. Highway department. We have the telephone, supplies. We have 2 full-timers there now, and the part-time, highway department head. Overtime, for the highway department, paving construction, road mowing, uniforms for the highway department, mobile phones for the highway, gasoline, diesel fuel, diesel equipment maintenance, equipment rental for the highway department, patching for the highway department, culverts, blasting, gravel, road striping, tree cutting, winter contracts, road salt, and winter sand. Total budget for 2025 was 718,793. Total used was 718,7655. There would have been about a $40,000 credit coming back to the town, but at the last month of the year, we decided to crush the gravel and reclaim tar that's in the pit on Kimball Pond Road, so that we would have gravel for the next 3 years or so for our roads. So that took $40,000 out of his current year budget, without any overages. Our 2026 budget is 737,499, it's an $18,000 increase. There's a $20,000 increase in the second full-time highway worker, we have the COLA planned in there. Highway paving construction went up by $3,300. Roadside mowing went up by 2,000. Highway equipment, went up by $5,000, and diesel fuel went up by 2. Road striping by 500. Winter contractors went down by $15,000. So either their truck size or losing people, brought that down. So the overall increase in the whole highway department's only 18,706. And that includes 2 full-timers now. Any questions on that? Huh? Yeah, we stole it from Paul. Alright, solid waste. We have the full-time manager. 4 part-timers down there, 3% COLA added to both those. We have solid waste overtime. The equipment rentals and fees, training, subcontracted services, supplies, equipment maintenance, department equipment, telephones, uniforms for all employees, mobile phone, fuel costs, ash lab testing for our burning pit, fees and services for the transfer station, MSW, C&D removal, hazard waste collection, and dues for NRRA. Okay, for both the employees, I said we have the 3% COLA. Solid waste administration overtime went up by $590. Subcontracted services went up by 1,000. Uniforms, went up by $41.90. Our uniforms, were not cycled back as often as we wanted from our company that washes them. So we included 3 new t-shirts and 1 new jacket for each guy. And that includes their boots as well. And they get replacement boots every year, I believe.
Yes.
MSW went up by $9,100. Disposal fees at $350 a ton now. C&D removal actually went down by $877. That amount, for the C&D removal looks like will be refunded quarterly, the amount there from the state, hopefully. Hazardous waste collection stayed flat. And the dues went up by $26. So, the total on that department is $367,564. We used $336,081. We ended up at $390 for the budget, $836, and that's a $23,000 increase. That includes the COLA, 4 part-timers, 1 full-timer, any overtime we have down there, and the additional fees. Some of those fees, like the MSW and the C&D, we have no control over. We send them out for bidding, and, we have our bids back. Any questions on transfer station?
Edison Chase, 29 Gay Road. Dave, where does it show anything, do we make any money at all from, where's that,
We do have stuff comes back in for us, but those goes right into our revenues, don't they?
Yeah.
So,
was that in another
it
area?
gets rolled over into our town revenues, which we
Okay.
already went over.
Recycling income last year, they collected $41,743.
Okay, so
That
that's,
goes back into our,
right,
And then it also collected fees at the point of disposal, $27,186. So they do a good job in
okay.
collecting them.
that's all the fees of people bringing in larger than a couple barrels of stuff, you don't have to truck or whatever.
Thank you.
Anything else, Addison?
Nope, that's good, Dave, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, the next thing is welfare. Salvation Army, Dunbarton Church. Thank you. Community Action Program, Administration Overseer of Welfare, Deputy Welfare Director, and Direct Assistance. Total welfare was $18,000. We used in the budget, and that was the previous year's budget, $18,048. We used $13,680. Our budget this year is $19,291. Again, there was some 3% control, COLA added to it. And an anticipated rent increase. And that was, not something we rent, it's an increase of the direct assistance rental help. So that budget went up by $1,243. Pretty flat budget, really. Any questions on welfare? Okay. We do provide a stipend, I think, to the church. It's mixed into these fees. Salvation Army gets $1,500. And I think we bring $500 over to the church.
No, it's the 50/50. They split it.
It's usually 500, I was treasurer for a couple of years,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Okay, Parks and Rec. Budgeted was 2,200, the actual is 1,617. 2026 budget is 3,200. There's a $1,000 increase. They asked to bring the bus trip back into play, where we bus people down to Boston to do a day's worth of activities and bus them back. It was noted on here that we're trying to, increase the use of Dunbarton residents instead of out-of-town residents for that, but you can of course bring your family and friends. So So we thought that was a good idea. The Parks and Rec Department are doing a great job with the, soccer and the different games and scheduling people. Okay, any questions on Park and Rec? Old Home Day. Old Home Day is budgeted for 7,000. Memorial Day is 300. The total budget's 7301 scheduled. They spent 5854. And this year it's 7301. Keeping a perfectly level budget, that's just what we like.
I like the fireworks.
Addison, you got one department right there.
Yeah.
Give them a big hug.
I know.
Okay, library. Just so you guys know, the library does have its own committee and, people, they're not really under our control, so they bring us their budget. The library budget was 128,591 in 2025. It looks like they spent 128,595, I'm sorry, it was 595 and 595. 2026 is 137,426. The library trustee getting a 3% COLA had an increase.
Library director, not the trustee.
Yeah. Library trustee budget request 3% COLA.
Well, that's what they requested.
Yeah, so their increase was 8,831. Lean, the library returned some money to town this year though.
It's only like $114.
Okay. All right, our bond payment. As you guys know, we had a 10-year bond payment for our road system. That bond payment was 162,739. The actual was 162,739. It goes down to the end of that. It is now 156,844, $5,895 decrease. Payment number 4 of what, 10? Okay. And the last line I have on here before we get to the total budget, KTFCA Conservation Maintenance. That was scheduled for $1,000. They spent $1,000, that gets used to mow the edges of the field. We increased that by $22.97. Many of you know there's a foundation up there, an old barn foundation in the middle or the front edge of the field. That maintenance of that foundation, the spraying to control the ivy and the different weeds that were in there, was being paid by a resident for the last 5 or 6 years. And we decided it was time for the town to take that responsibility and pay for that, so that's why the increase of $22.97 in there. The total new budget in that is $32.97. So total budget for 2025 was $3,737,520. We spent $3,492,167. Our new budget is $4,044,236 when you add these all up. So if you take our budget of $3,737,520, take our actual of the $3,492,166, we have a lapsing budget of $245,354. So $245,354 we have extra from this budget. Then you take our excess revenues, which we went over earlier, of $265,575. It comes up to a total of $510,929. On 8/1/8 of 2026, we decided to increase our rainy day fund by $50,000. So we deducted $50,000 out of those two funds. And that left $460,929 to apply to our current year's budget. Also, we have an overlay amount from a utility settlement that happened in December of 2025, where we were putting money aside as an overlay for, PSNH and Eversource in case we had overcharged them with our assessments earlier on. Well, the courts voted in Dunbarton's favor and many other towns, cause it's a large action suit. Several towns had to pay, but Dunbarton was not one of them. So we are releasing that surplus money of $200,000 back into this budget process. And we voted all the surplus to offset the operating budget projected for 2026 will be a total of $660,929. So, if we apply that money towards our budget like we voted on earlier, that will bring us down, and only required to raise from taxation $1,309,500
That's the revenue, that's the revenue.
projected revenues, minus projected revenues.
Yeah.
So, our budget would be $2,073,807. To raise from taxation. Let me get a sip of water here. So our 2025 assessment for the, houses in Dunbarton was $747,558,401, which is article number 7. That equals 277 cents for the projected tax rate. Our 2025 municipal tax rate includes other warrant articles, was $3.16. And you'll see that we're actually 39 cents lower than the previous year. And then you add articles 8 through 15 in, which we're gonna go over next, that adds 25 cents to it. So we're actually 14 cents lower. We have a decrease of 14 cents over the previous year's budget. When you're looking at this lower budget, we have two overlays that happen through the year. We have the overlay for taxes that, need to get credit of $50,000 if people underpay or overpay for their taxes. And then we have the veterans credit of $64,500. So our change from the, 2025 operating budget using the 2025 assessments is 2 cents. So, we have a 4.30 decrease, over the previous year's budget. The next thing we have to go over is our warrants. And you'll see we already have the dollar value listed in there for the warrants. Does anybody have any questions on this budget? If you read it, follow it, okay. If you come up with anybody, just let us know. You guys, we can vote on these as we get to it. Everybody have a copy of the warrants?
Yes.
Dana, we'll vote on these articles as we go through them. So that will be our official vote on the warrant.
Got it.
Okay, the first one is election of officers, moderators, treasurers, we're gonna skip that one, that'll be done at town meeting. Number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 are all for zoning and planning,
It'll be on the ballot.
and they'll be on the ballot. Number 6 is to choose hog race for ensuing year. Number 7 is the budget we just went over. So starting at number 8. I'll read these and then we'll vote on them as select board. And we'll wait till you guys have any discussion about either one. Now, just before we start, all of these dollar amounts, you're gonna wonder how we came up with. There's a CIP project that Donna White had worked on. And we had all the department heads come in for several meetings through several years. And we updated the CIP request from each department. And we looked at their future needs out over the next 6 years. And then we took their needs as a group and tried to understand which ones they needed, further down the line within those 6 years. And we put dates on them. And then we did the math backwards to divide what the department's needs were over those next 6 years. And that's how we decide what these CIPs are funded, if you wonder what we come up with, how we.
CIP means capital improvement plan.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, that's what I was gonna say, thank you, Michael.
And you also prioritize them,
Yes,
it's
by
important.
the year. And the department heads have been very good on their requests. And we've updated a lot of things, you know. The fire chief looks like he left the room. But, you know, we got a new ambulance paid out of those, we got a new fire truck paid out of those, we got a command vehicle paid mostly out of those. We have a police car every other year paid for out of those. Jeff got his dump truck, the second new dump truck, that we have that person paid for out of there. This year, you're gonna see the transfer station finally has a request. And through the different years, we've lowered certain departments that didn't have needs and increased them for other departments that were having a large need that year. We seem to be getting pretty caught up now, and our CIP should be following this much closer.
And the thing is, why do we even collect the money? We put money into these capital reserve plans. And so, if we need a police car, we don't have to go to the taxpayers and say, I want $80,000 of this year to pay for a new police car this year. It avoids those spikes in the tax rate. 1 year it's high, 1 year it's low. This way, people can plan for it appropriately and budget their own budgets that way.
Okay, that being said, Leo, you had a question?
No, you neglected to vote on Article 7. So
That's
you wanna stay
hog
with,
race,
you know,
wasn't it? Did I miss one? Oh,
Article
it's our
7.
town budget.
Oh, you wanna vote on it? Is that what you said?
Oh, you're right, Leo, I
I'm
went over our
keeping an eye
budget
on you
earlier,
guys.
so we can vote on that one. Dana, I reviewed our budget in length already. And Leo is right, we should vote on our budget as a board of selectmen. Does anybody else have any questions on the overall budget? Okay, that being said, I'll bring it back to a vote of the select board. Null, yes?
Kaminsky, yes.
Dana, can you hear us? Wouldn't you know, you
Oh, you
froze.
fell asleep.
Yep, you fell asleep, all right.
Well, we got a 2-0.
Good one.
We lost him. Yeah, wanna try and reconnect? He's coming.
He's gonna
Hey,
get-
Dana,
Trying to get another glass of water.
let me know if you can hear us.
He's gonna get another beer.
I can hear you.
We just had a vote on our overall budget, there were no further questions, which is article number 7. Leo brought it up, he's correct, we should vote on that article. Mike and I both voted yes, we're waiting for yours, we lost you.
Yeah, Lavoy, yes.
Okay, 3-0 on that one. Okay. Article number 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 to be added to the reevaluation capital fund established in 2003 and as summarized in the capital improvement plan. This sum is to come from taxation in 2026. This is a 2-cent addition to the tax rate. Any questions on that? Okay, there being none, I'll bring it back for a vote. Null, yes?
Kaminsky, yes.
Lavoy, yes.
Okay, 3 off on that one. Okay, article or warrant number 9. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the transfer station vehicle or equipment capital reserve fund established in 2014, as summarized in the capital improvement plan. This sum is to come from taxation in 2026. This impact will be 3 cents. Any questions on this? Okay, none being so, I'll bring it back to the board for a vote. Null, Chess?
Kaminsky, yes.
Dana? He froze. I will continue on,
Increase the budget for internet.
and,
Yeah, it's GSI, you have no option.
okay,
Also cold out there.
warrant number 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the fire department emergency vehicle capital reserve fund established in 2014, and is summarized in the capital improvement plan. This sum is to come from taxation in 2026. This is about a 7-cent impact. Any questions on the fire department? Item number, let's bring it to a vote. Dana, you with us? Oh, still frozen. We'll make the vote, I'll just have Dana vote on them all at the end.
Yeah.
Null, Jess?
Kaminsky, yes.
Okay. Item number 11 on the warrant, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the highway vehicle capital reserve fund established in 2012, and as summarized in the capital improvement program plan. The sum is to come from taxation. The amount of impact is 3 cents. Any questions on the public? Okay, bring it back for a vote. Null, Chess?
Kaminsky, yes.
Dana? I can see his eyes still moving. Yep. Okay. Warrant number 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the police vehicle and equipment capital reserve fund established in 2020. And as summarized in the capital improvement program. This sum is to come from taxation. The rate is 3 cents impact. Any questions of the public?
Excuse me, Dave?
Yeah.
May I ask you a question? I should have asked it earlier. Addison Chase, 29 Guinea Road.
Yeah.
Why is the fire department double what everything else is?
The fire department's double because they're, gonna look to replace a tanker next, I
Oh.
believe, so the dollar amount on the tanker. We have a tanker that, last time we updated, I think was 20 years old, I'm only going off memory.
I remember.
We actually
something
repaired the tank
Yeah.
the last time. So, we have a nice new fire truck,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yeah, I do.
We have a new ambulance, we have a new command vehicle. The next thing I believe, and I'm only going off memory, is the tanker.
about.
If the
Okay.
fire chief comes back, I'll ask him for clarification.
Yeah.
But that's why that vehicle is so expensive.
Well, I know they're expensive, but, you know, it's double everything else in the police department, you know, they're 25,000. That's a good department, you know, and that's a, you know, everything else is good too.
You know, we use those
No.
interceptors and we're fortunate our chief watches those vehicles.
Yes.
We buy them through that state plan, we're not buying big Tahoes and all
Oh,
that.
no, I
other
know
stuff,
that,
so-
no, but there's still, it's good stuff we're buying, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I just, you know, it's double everything else.
You'll see that's the reason why.
Sometimes we'll even short a department, so we can help out another department too.
Yeah.
And so we anticipate this one will probably be next in the barrel, as Dave
Well,
said.
What'd you say, shore another one up?
Short,
Oh,
short.
short, oh,
In other words, we may, instead of giving 25, we may cut 20 and 20, so we can put more money in. And so, but we anticipate, what Dave is, he's anticipating this is gonna be a major cost.
Yeah,
So
oh,
we gotta
no,
start
I
putting money
understand
aside for it.
yeah, I know, but, and we're looking to do that this year, you think? Dave?
No,
No.
no.
Oh, down the road?
Nope, it's in that 6-year plan, I
Yes,
think.
okay,
CIP.
thank you.
And that CIP plan is welcome, we have a copy of it right here at the building department, you guys
Yeah.
are welcome to look at that plan.
Yep, no, I
See
understand,
what
I just,
the department
yeah,
needs. Yep, so that is the reason,
thank you.
good question. So we were on 12, correct, Mike?
Correct.
Yes,
Finish that on a vote,
Kaminsky, yes.
null, Jess? Okay. Warrant article number 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $92,500 to purchase a new skid steer or compact loader or telehandler and with attachments. To fund this appropriation by withdrawing up to $92,500 from the transfer station vehicle equipment capital reserve fund established in 2014, less any grants received. No amount is to be raised from taxation. So this is a perfect example
I
where
see, so.
we're in the year of purchase. And just so you know, I put all three of those in there. We currently have a skid steer that we're replacing. And the reason we're thinking about the other things is, there's some safety concerns with the skid steer. The way the arms come up and kind of block your vision. We have a lot of people working around that, especially within the building. And we actually think the compact loader will be our best choice as far as visibility. So we've left ourselves an open door to pick the proper piece of equipment and also apply for whatever grants we can, before the purchase.
Yep.
And get those deducted as well. Fred, go ahead.
Fred Mullen, 14 Stock Lane. Article 13, does need to be recommended by the board? Vote on that too, or not?
We're gonna vote on it, it's on the next page, I
Next
think.
page.
Okay.
So if there are no other questions on it, we'll bring it back to the board for a vote.
Kaminsky, yes.
Nault, yes? Okay. And just so you know that, I don't wanna speak for Dana, but he's been all through this several times this warrant and
Is he going like this?
is on the same page. Item number 14, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the land capital reserve fund established in 1997 and as summarized in the capital improvement plan. This sum is to come from taxation in 2026, this is 3 cents. As many of you know, last year we closed on the Lane property. We did that through a purchase of the town with a little bit of money that was in this land, and the rest came from taxation. Or probably revenues that we had left over. My hope is to have this fund built up a little bit so that when a piece of property comes up close to town or something that's important to the town, we don't have to try and raise that all that 1 year from taxation, so putting a small amount of money, to look to the future, I think makes good sense. So, any other questions on that fund? Go ahead.
Karen Chase, Guinea Road, what's the current balance in that account, do we have an idea? Lee?
We pulled most of the money out for that.
Yeah,
I don't have it in front of me, I wanna say it's only like $2,000 or $3,000.
oh, okay.
Yeah. We just pulled it out last year for the
Yeah.
Lane property, so
Yeah.
there was about $50,000 in there before that, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And I think we put 15,000 in it last year.
And we did not spend all the money, so there's still like another couple, so it might be
Yeah.
about 10 grand.
That's good, very good.
But we thought it was important to this board, and, you know, I've been doing this for 9 years, and I sat in here like you guys for the 10th year, so 10 years straight trying to balance this budget. If I could do anything different, I would have funded that earlier.
No, he did good.
And we
It
didn't
works.
do it, so. The next one, any other questions on that one?
One comment, Ray
Yeah.
Plant, Moose Point, trustee of the trust funds, current balance in there is $2,309.82.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for coming, Steve. All right, I'm gonna bring it back for a vote, Null, yes?
Kaminsky, yes.
All right. Article number 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the building repair capital reserve fund established in 1997. This sum is to come from taxation in 2026. And again, that's a 3 cent impact. This is the same type of fund as the last fund. There are no major repairs on the horizon, but instead of leaving the, one day we're gonna have to update our town safety building, which is our police and fire. And, if we don't start setting some money aside, even a small amount per year, this town office was built in the 1800s, parts of it. There's 3 different sections here. Someday this will have to be updated, so if we don't start putting some money aside, you don't build new buildings without many millions of dollars nowadays, so. We felt that was important. Anybody have any questions on it? No, Jess. Bring it back to a vote for the board. Okay. The last one was something that the town clerk asked us to put in. This was, set up through the state. And I'll just review it now, but it's not anything we need to vote on it now, I don't think. Well, actually, there is a selectman vote on it.
Yep.
Shall the town vote to change the terms of office for the supervisors of the checklist from 6-year term to 3-year terms, as each term naturally expires? So as these people that are signed up for 6 years, it'll go to 3 terms. Pursuant to RSA 41:46-A. Some of the reasoning behind this is a 6-year term, for some of these people, a very long term. And if it were a 3-year term, like most of the other volunteer type of committees, they think that you might get a better amount of people, even though there will be some training added to it for turnover, but.
That was recommended by the supervisor of the checklist to us.
I have no issue with that, I think it made good sense coming from us, so no, yes.
Committee, yes.
Dave, can I just say that it was just brought to my attention that because you cannot hear Dana, participate in the vote, your next meeting, you will be signing your MS 636, which is the budget form from the state, and then you will be signing the, completed warrant article, and what I would recommend is that at that time, go through the whole process with the official votes, with everyone present, so that, it could be official and we can all have it signed at that time.
I do have a text, I thought it might be Dana, having internet issues, I'm in the waiting room. I am a yes on warrant articles 9 through 16.
Oh.
I am in the waiting room on Zoom. Is there anything you need help with or waiting on?
Better accept it. Now you have it.
I saw that red bar up top too.
Beautiful.
So, that looks like the entire amount of warrants. As you can see from our budget, we did not apply any surplus or excess revenues to any of the warrants. We let them all stand on their own. They're all pretty, 3 or 7 cents, they're pretty simple ones. And Woody's equipment is gonna be 100% paid, there's no taxation there.
He'll be happy.
So, if you can look there, we're putting, a huge amount of money back to the town towards our budget.
It's your money.
We're not keeping it, we're not saving it for any other, our rainy day fund is over $500,000 already. It's supposed to be about 5% of our total budget, we're adding another $50,000 to that. You gotta remember, we have all of these warrant articles, all this CIP money, and the rainy day money sitting in an account somewhere, if there was a major emergency. So we feel that with a town with as many small needs and, as small a bonds as we have, that we don't really have any big issues there.
Does that improve our bond rating if we need one?
We had an excellent bond rating. We have the best, our bond is under.
And I think that, overlay surplus is,
I have a curiosity question.
Name.
Oh, sorry, Linda Landry, Montalona Road. On, warrant article, 16, on the supervisors of the checklist.
Yeah,
In all of my time here, I've never come across an article where a term was changed, a term for an official. And I'm wondering if that, instead of recommended by Board of Selectmen, should it be supervisors of the checklist? That might be something to look into with the municipal association.
It's a good recommendation, we'll check that.
Thank you.
This is the selectmen's warrant though.
But the planning board's recommending those articles in the
Oh,
beginning,
Okay,
so it only makes sense that,
And for the record, it's only on there because they recommended it.
but I know that you have to put a recommendation, I think now you do have to put a recommendation on, don't you, or is it,
I think we do.
okay. But just to make sure the right people are recommending that article.
Any other questions on our 2026 budget?
Not a question, just a comment. John Trotter, 300 Stark Highway North. So of these, there were 7 articles that you're adding money to the savings, in my mind, into a savings account. And there's 1 article that you're taking money out of it.
Yes.
So I commend you gentlemen for doing this, an excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that it's finally balanced out where the needs of each department are pretty level now.
Yep. and
I know
following
that Jeff's gonna
CIP.
need another 1-ton truck, we have a police car due for next year's cycle, but they're gonna be, I think, smaller than what we've seen over the last couple of years of jumps.
You know, you're gonna need to keep beating on that CIP.
Yes,
And
keep
the
updating.
thing is, and I've said this in the past, we're one of the few areas with a volunteer fire department. We made the first step in this past year where we went to per diem ambulance because we couldn't man ambulance volunteers. It's gonna grow, and as we grow, and we can't get volunteers on a volunteer fire department, we're gonna have to eventually expand it to paid firefighters.
Dave, just quickly, now, all these numbers that we have, the 3 cents, the 7 cents, that all gets added on to what the previous number was, the
Yeah,
416.
But you
or whatever.
see, when I did our overall budget, I gave you what those says, was
Yeah.
it 14 cents or so
Yes.
that added?
Still drops.
Okay,
So I had that in there and we're still level or
Okay.
lower than last year,
very good. Thank you.
so. And you know, it's a hard number, when you look at, we're less than last year for our budget, we've kept our budget pretty tight. But all those 3% COLAs and those additional people, they will be on next year's budget. So, we were able to keep it level, but it doesn't go away, those increases are there, I don't wanna, you know,
Per year,
yes.
yes.
Next year the new officers will be there, the new person for the transfer station will be there, all those things will be back in the budget.
Like we funded the officer for a partial year.
Oh, yeah.
Next year it's a full year if we
Yeah.
hire him.
So it's,
Yeah, I remember when you started to do that with the truck driver there,
yeah,
partial year and then finish it off, yeah.
that 40,000 we used to crush gravel would have been left over from budgeting that full timer for part of the year.
And you said that'll last a good 5 years or so?
About 3 years.
years,
Yeah,
is
that's
their
pretty
thought.
good.
I like the way you go, I'll stretch it to 5.
Well, on our road, pretty good, we're pretty good right
Yeah,
now,
it
so.
works good for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna close the public hearing unless anybody else has any questions. Okay, I'm gonna take a small recess and come back, right, Mike?
So let's clear room if they want.
Okay,
Are we all
thank you.
set? We're all set here.
Kind of a sugar at $200,000. That's a one-time sugar.
Bring it out of here, John.
That's 5% of the budget. Last year, we paid that that was one time. She took a kick last year. Yeah, but oh, yeah. A fair amount, because we put extra for engineering. But this year, it's $200,000 sugar. Like, ooh, we got a bill, $200,000 a year, that's 5% of your budget.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, I
got a good video in the back of your head the whole time.
Make an announcement.
Believe it or not, I couldn't even see Dave.
It's 8:56,
Came around your head.
in 2 minutes, we're gonna go into non-public.
Look at this, I'm just gonna say, this is really bad. Michael Myers, Christopher John Harry. I was sitting here. I didn't see it. No question. I said, you gotta get ahead. You don't know your clothes. Oh, I don't care.
Coming back from the bull. Dunbarton, go home after we yeah, that's why. So he's saying that's what we don't do it to be a service. The middle of the school. The biggest budget hit for any person. That probably won't be action. I just want to make sure they don't know that we're gonna hold something. As I go back. That was just what I but just re-emphasize it. They've got a gun, it's his. Yeah, that's, and he didn't respond. But it was wrong location. He gets responsibility. Yeah, so we're not. Is he sitting?
When you're coming back in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and then so we go back, the load gets more stuff, get up there. Yeah. And repair it, doesn't even have more front.
Fireworks, lumber, whatever you need.
And you look at it, it takes, then you next meeting, we'll see if you all together. You actually, and that's his courtesy for you, courtesy is all, yes. No criticism at all.
No, I appreciate that.
Right, but I mean, if he had.
Yeah, for sure.